Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Kraftchick and I'm a complete tech nerd. I'm a double major math physics from Trent University, took my BEd at Trent University, and so I'm a teacher in math, science, technology, and all those kind of fun things. I have 12 or 13, I don't know, too many, ABQ/ABQs, including math specialist, physics specialist, ICT specialist. I've got things like e-learning, FSL Part 1, junior qualifications, and most recently PQP 1, so principals qualifications, which just ended last week. So I guess I'm a sucker for punishment. So I just had a grade 8 tech this semester, as well as a spec ed tech. So I thought this course is kind of a nice way to reflect on how I could do things differently and what other options I have in terms of assistive technology. A little bit more about myself. I spent 4 years working, my first 4 years of teaching, at an international school in China for expats. There I taught mathematics, science, technology for a variety of grades through 8 through 12. But it also gave me a chance, some extra chances. I was also the math science department head, technology coordinator, which is a very interesting role, and I'm sure it'll have a lot of ties with this course. I was also the activities coordinator, essentially. So we had a house system. I was the leader of the house system as well as leader of one of the houses. So I was like Dumbledore, and yeah, kind of like a Dumbledore. But it was all dragon related because it's in China. So, and it's also played a role on school administration. So, just a lot of options and a lot of opportunities when I was over in China. I've been back for some time now, around a little more than six years, and it's very hard once we return to get into the teaching world. So the first year I actually worked at a college as a college professor, where I taught computer applications and business communications, finally getting into the occasional teaching realm. Did that for about 4 years, and finally getting permanent at the board that I'm at now, where I teach math, science, technology, and even French at the grade 8 through 12 level. Very passionate about technology, big tech head. Actually, if you can hear this weird noise in the background, currently got a 3D printer going for one of my grade 8 classes. I'll talk about that later. But even about my personal life, trying to build myself a little bit of a smart home. And I got a bunch of stuff. I'll talk about that in a second. So things like I got Alexa Dots. So the Alexas, I've got 4 or 5 of them at home. So helps set up things like I've got a bunch of smart bulbs, smart plugs, soon to have a smart lock, all sorts of fun stuff that I just need some time to set that up, which rarely have time to do that. So I'm trying to get that all set up at home. But even inside my classroom, I've got Google Home Mini, all sorts of fun things, charging stations for the kids, even though that might not be relevant next year, but we'll see about that. I'm always trying to find ways to incorporate technology into the classroom. I've done e-learning courses. Sometimes even instead of using Google Classroom, I'll try and use the D2L platforms, and just because it's a little bit more useful for the students, so they learn those skills if they ever take on a summer school course, which I've been teaching for the last 4 years as well. And again, this summer starts on Tuesday. That being said, in my recollections of free time, I remember liking sports, so I'm also active into sports and coaching and all that kind of stuff. Things like volleyball, basketball, ultimate frisbee. Fractured my arm, by the way, playing ultimate frisbee. That's why it's called ultimate. Hiking, biking, fishing, all that kind of good stuff. If those things weren't enough, I'm also crazy enough to be married. My wife, also a teacher, unfortunately not permanent yet. We have 3 children, a set of 7-year-old twin boys, and then another boy that is 5 years old. So, and again, they're just as active as we are, so they're into soccer and baseball and stuff, so my evenings are pretty full almost all week long. So going back to technology, one of my dreams ever since being young was to have this projector onto the wall and everything was built inside of it. So you go up to the wall, push a button, out comes a tray to put a movie in, VHS, yada, yada, yada. Not there yet, slowly getting there, but with the introduction of smart stuff, I'm always trying to incorporate that a little bit more. So my dreams have changed a little bit. But still very passionate in that area, and hope to get there soon. In terms of technology in the classroom, basically got to use what's on hand. Majority of the times it's Chromebooks and iPads or iPad minis. So when I'm using math and science, try and use Google Sheets a lot. In terms of math, looking at constant differences, instantaneous rates of change, all the way up to hypergeometric and binomial distributions for data management classes. In science, the University of Colorado has a bunch of online simulators, which I absolutely love. And even better that a lot of them are becoming HTML5, so a lot of them are more accessible on Chromebooks and things like that. What else? Other platforms, things like Plickers and Quizlet, which are great for an applied science or French classes. I use those a lot for those ones. And even now to grade 8 technology. So in that course right now, we're focusing on some basic things like using the Google Suite a little bit more efficiently, and maybe some things that they haven't used before. Hour of code, we went into some coding things. Microbits, we didn't get there this year. We had so many snow days and this and that we just didn't get there. Then to 3D design and print. I thought that one was a really good one, just to kind of get their interest in that area. So that's what this is printing right now. So one of the students we tried to find the useful applications, like kids were like, hey, look, I made a box with a hole. So one kid is interested in planting, so I talked about self-watering pots and maybe creating one. So they looked up some stuff on the internet, found an idea, and then try to replicate that idea. So it's kind of nice to see the students like seeing an idea, saying like, hey, I can do that, and then they make it themselves. Other things in the past, Lego Mindstorm robots. So when I was over in China, we replicated the Mars lunar rover landing and had the kids pretend to control it from a remote location. So we had a webcam on the camera, and so they would only be able to do whatever they could see. So they would tell the robot, oh, go forward a little bit. Oh, there's something there, you got to turn around. And we had to take water samples, heat samples, and of course destroy the aliens. That was their favorite part. So we had a little gun and they had to shoot the intruders that were there. And so we had a lot of fun with that. And now more recently I'm trying to get into the Arduinos. I've always been interested in them, just haven't really been able to dive into them. So that's coming soon this summer. I'm kind of picking up some courses in that as well. And even last year, I've just transferred currently this year. So it's a new school for me, but for the last 2.5 years at a school, and just in my last year, I was starting up. I did all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff to run an SHSM in technology. So I was really focusing on modern practices, so using Arduinos and using 3D printers and tying it in with robotics. So the kids had to make robots, build the parts with 3D printers and all that kind of stuff. So all those sorts of things, and besides that, go tech. Peace.